So I've been here at the company for going on 2.5 years, and really what sparked my love for this industry was the connection to community. I love that Studio 111's approach to architecture and design starts with preserving the story of the community and the history of the buildings.
I have lived in Long Beach since I was a year old, and I swore I would leave the city when I went to college and never come back. And I was gone for 8 years, and I came back and fell in love with the city and never left since.
What drew me to Long Beach is that it still feels like a city but has small local roots, and you see that in the architecture. There's a lot of celebration of local businesses and local tenant shops, but also the big commercial type buildings, housing buildings that also support the neighborhood and help it grow.
I've noticed that there have been a lot of changes to public space in Long Beach, more than other environments, and that there's also been a notable increase in multifamily housing, especially here in the downtown core.
So I think Long Beach is a very diverse community in people and in building types. You know, there are some buildings that if they're not done carefully, they're not considered from the proper scale, or if they're just very out of touch with the community, those can be problematic.
Cities need to grow and adapt. They need to bring in revenue, which those new projects tend to bring. But there is a reality that it tends to displace the existing community. The hope, I think, with a lot of the projects that the firm works on is that we try to work on projects with an idea of community, so still maintaining some emblem of that, whether it's a community center building or some open space that the public can access. That's how we can still tie it back into the neighborhood.
I've seen the impact of what the gentrification has done on people's dreams to open and have a business here in Long Beach. And I think that seeing all of these high rises going up and the rent rates and the lease rates go up for these people have really impacted what we see our downtown being. It's supposed to be lively and diverse, and right now it is vacant and empty.
I do think that in many years of being an architect, gentrification has always been an awareness. And it's one of those things, like if you think about the theory of if you try to really focus on what to avoid, sometimes that's exactly where you head. And I think that architects and developers, when they think really specifically about gentrification, may fall into that trapping.
I think that our projects have really changed the way that people look at architecture firms. I think that because we do our due diligence of knowing this history of our projects and the land and the communities that existed there, people trust us to do the projects. And
Yes, we do. We've done over 36 adaptive reuse projects, which is taking a building that has a certain use and changing it to a new use. And in doing so, we get to save the building. And in doing so, you're keeping the history of some of the buildings within the city.
A neighborhood rise up and speak towards what they want to see in their backyard. So certainly encouraging participation in the process, engaging the local community, all the constituents. Hearing those voices is important.
I think that listening to the community is a huge part. What's been great is that we've invited community members in to tell us what they would like to see. And with that, it's not just an architecture saying, this would be nice, this will make our city beautiful, but it's really listening to the desires and the needs of the community that'll make these things last for a long time and have the community have the greatest impact.